I've been saying it all offseason. Chris Olave could absolutely be the number one rookie wide receiver out of this year's draft and the number one fantasy producer among all rookie wide receivers. No, I don't think it's going to be a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson type performance. I believe he could be a solid wide receiver 3 with potential wide receiver 2 upside, depending on how things turn out for this offense. We're going to talk about all that and more right now. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So who is Chris Olave? If you're just now jumping into, kind of your research for your fantasy football drafts coming up here next month, let's talk about Chris Olave. He was the number 3 wide receiver taken off the board out of Ohio State. There's some definite positives with this game, but there's also some negatives to his game. He is a 4-year starter at Ohio State. Now, that is something that does cause a little bit of a red flag just because, we typically want to see wide receivers come out after that year 3, but he does have a very good 19.2 breakout age, which is 85th percentile. But staying for that extra year does ding him a bit. He never really was the alpha in the offense. Garrett Wilson was there. He was somebody that, that was a little bit more productive than he was. And then obviously Jackson Smith-Njigba also just went absolutely nuclear last year. And he is definitely a locked in top 15 draft pick in 2023, but that's a conversation for another day. But Chris Olave, coming out, he is somebody that, the Saints traded up to get and really is a perfect fit for Jameis Winston. Olave is definitely going to be that outside X wide receiver, that deep threat that they've been so desperately searching for, somebody that they thought Traquan Smith could be, that never happened. Marquez Callaway, they kind of flirted with that a little bit last year with him as well. But, Chris Olave carries that 4.39 speed, which and a 99.3% speed score, which is almost 70th percentile. Chris Olave is much more than that. Like I said, he is a truly elite route runner. Might be the best route runner in this class of wide receivers. And listen, I loved guys like Drake London coming out. Jameson Williams was probably my favorite rookie wide receiver, or was my favorite wide receiver prospect heading into this. But if you look at all their situations, Chris Olave's looks like the best, because you have Drake London, who is in Atlanta, who is going to have Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder as their starting quarterbacks. Then you have Garrett Wilson, who it looks like he's going to have, obviously with Zach Wilson, but Elijah Moore is still there, Corey Davis, the tight ends that they brought in. So how much of a high volume passing offense is that even going to be? And so that hurts Garrett Wilson a little bit. And then you also have Treylon Burks, who's for a lot of people the guy that they really want the most, but some real red flags coming out of minicamp about, asthma. I would like to call that just being out of shape, but whatever, we're going to spin that however we want. But Treylon Burks, probably has the inside track just because there's nobody else there outside of Robert Woods. But I would argue that Chris Olave is in a better situation, and here's why. So if you look at the target competition, one, let's get this out of the way really quickly. I don't think Alvin Kamara is getting suspended at all. I think if it was going to happen, it would have already happened. I think with no, court ruling or anything like that's happening, they continue to continue it. It's going to be continued on, likely now to October. Then from there, his legal camp is going to push this out past the season. So I highly, highly doubt there is going to be a suspicion. I know people keep talking about it, but it's just not going to happen. At this point, I would be shocked if Alvin Kamara got suspended this year. So I fully expect he's going to be there. And I think he's going to come in and get his normal 15 to 20% target share that we typically see for Alvin Kamara. I know there's been some concern with Jameis Winston. Would he check down? But his 2 highest targeted games last year were with Jameis Winston, where he saw 8 and 11 targets for Alvin Kamara in those 2 games. In the short sample size, we saw 7 games with Jameis Winston last year. But, the rest of the wide receivers that are there, you have Michael Thomas, who is 29 years old and hasn't played since really a full season since 2019. And, that was with a completely different quarterback. That was with Drew Brees, who, had no arm at that point. And all he could do is short intermediate routes. And, he was just a target volume monster. And that's just not going to be the case with this offense, the way that it's currently constructed. Sean Payton is gone. Yes, it is good news that Pete Carmichael is back and he is the longtime offensive coordinator for the Saints. But this offense is going to be a little bit different than what we've typically seen. And, Michael Thomas isn't the same guy he used to be. I'm not trusting in having Michael Thomas, who is going ahead of Chris Olave in fantasy drafts right now, who started the training camp on PUP, which he can come off at any time. But the fact that he missed all of last year and he's still injured and he's still recovering from that injury is very bad news for Michael Thomas. I am out completely. No chance I'm taking Michael Thomas. I don't care where he goes, when he comes back. I want no part of Michael Thomas. I'm out on that. And so then from there, you have Jarvis Landry, who they signed to a really cheap deal. I mean, Jarvis Landry is still, I guess, good at football, but he's more of a redundant asset. Again, not somebody that is real strength for Jameis Winston, who's we all know Jameis Winston's best strength is his deep ball. And that is where Chris Olave is going to come into this offense. And so that's what I love so much about Chris Olave is that opportunity to be that deep ball, that deep threat. But he is not somebody he can run all quadrants of the field. He is a great, great route runner. He is not just a deep threat. Right now, my median projection for somebody like Chris Olave, I think, is right around 110 targets. I think somewhere in that 65, 70 catch range, probably 8 to 900 receiving yards and 5 to 6 touchdowns, which again isn't somebody that's going to win you your league. But I think when you're talking about where he's currently being drafted at wide receiver 48, 111th overall, that makes him a terrific value. Somebody that I think he can well outplay that ADP. I think he can finish as I think just a reasonable ceiling for him. I think is a wide receiver 3, but I do think if this passing offense takes off and we see Jameis Winston getting that like almost 600 attempt range, I think you could see even higher than that for him, where he'd get into a wide receiver 2. So I am loving Chris Olave. I am taking him everywhere I can. I think he can be somebody that is a solid contributor to your fantasy team this year. And so, with all that being said, draft Chris Olave with confidence. Later in your drafts, I think he's going to be the Saints wide receiver to own this year. With Jameis Winston, perfect match, perfect pairing for these two. We're trying to win championships around here. We're not trying to finish 4th or 5th. We're hitting home runs and home runs only, bat flip only, like Fernando Tatis. So we will catch you on the next one. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for future content. I'll catch you on the next one. We out.